Hey guys, it's Brent, and I'm back with another The Panel Has Spoken track versus track. I've got my co-host Carla here with me,
Hello.
and yeah, I always talk over people saying hello. So Carla, say hello.
Hello.
And we're here for Hotter Than Hell versus Dress to Kill. Now we've already done one episode where we paired their debut album against Hotter Than Hell, and the loser went on to go against Dress to Kill. So, and that's where we are now. And I've got a surprise about who the loser is going to go up against in this one. So, 10 tracks, and we've got 54 on the panel this time. And so we're going to talk about you guys. We're going to mention you. Of course, on the panel you have myself and Carla. From YouTube, Carolina Hard Rock Metalhead, Paul Bertolino, Stephen Joens, Wam SB, Gregory Pegg, Jesse Ray, Sonic Riccardi, John O, Roger Bennett, Emily Graziano, Mikkel D, Trevor Bullock, Jay Rucker, It's All For You Demon, Hard Rock Reverie, Future Squash, Michael Avant, Ryan FM, Sublime 130, Jay Reed, 6 plus 10, AJ Zetro 1975, Jeremy Kimona, That Toy Bonnie Guy, Two Gay Dads, Demetrius K, Super Kiss 1200, Joel Pegg, X Josh, Georgie Halick, and Les Wadley. From Twitter, we had Aladio, Matthew Smith, Tom Dust, David King, 80s Glam Metal, Andy, Deuce, Darian Helliwell, Tony Rod, Jeff Wyatt, Bob Zelinka, T. Waller Third Time, Bill Sharp, Lakers fan, Jason H., Vanessa, Rocksteady 1976. From Instagram, Dole Eric Ross. From Facebook, Richard Buffett, Matt Ucci, and my boy Scotty Sky. So that is 54 of us. So this is how we're going to do it. We're going to do it like we did last time. Carla is going to give her prediction. I'll give my prediction. I'll give my pick, why I might have picked it that way, and then she'll give her pick, and then we'll say what the panel picked. So we're going to start with track number 1. So what is your prediction for track number 1?
I thought it could go either way, but I think the panel is going to choose Got to Choose.
Got to Choose? All right. I thought the panel was going to choose Got to Choose as well. Now, me personally, my personal pick between Got to Choose and Room Service, both track 1 on each album, my pick between Got to Choose and Room Service was Room Service. And this was not an easy pick for me. There's some easy picks on here, but this was not an easy pick. I kind of, wallowed my hands a little bit over this one, and a couple others on here. But Room Service, in the end of it, I listened to them one last time, one back to back right next to each other, and I'm like, which one am I grooving on more right now? And is Room Service. It's just upbeat, and I love the way it starts the album off. It's that upbeat, and I love the way the production sounds on Dress to Kill. I think it's the best production between the two first albums. They're tight. You can hear how tight they are. And Room Service, it's an upbeat song. And it's one of the more upbeat songs that you hear, other than like Let Me Go Rock and Roll, which is kind of upbeat. But Kiss usually plays maybe slower and grooving type stuff. But on this one, they kind of pick the beat up on it. And I like how it just comes in, just da-da-da-da-bum-bum, just starts. And Paul on Dress to Kill, he's singing about that rock star lifestyle that he's been living, feeling low, no place to go, and I'm thinking that I'm gonna scream, he just does he just does such a good job on this album. Paul's lyrics and vocals is just so good on this album. So I had to give track 1 for me. I had to give it to Room Service. So what about you?
I went with Got to Choose. It's just a little bit heavier than Room Service, but Room Service is always one of those songs that I think I don't like, and then I listen to it and I'm like, why do I think I don't like this? I love this song. And so when I was doing my my choices, I wrote in got to choose without even thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And then even today I was like, I mean, I love room service. Why did I just dismiss it so much? But even so, between the two, I got to go with got to choose.
What the panel chose between got to choose and room service, 37-16. Pretty definitive. The panel chose got to choose with 37 points. Room service had 16 points.
I'm surprised it was that much of a runaway.
Yeah, there's quite a few runaways on this. Quite a few. So that takes us to track 2.
Parasite.
Parasite is your prediction.
Parasite. Mm-hmm.
Parasite was my prediction as well. And Parasite was also my choice as well. And for the same reason I said before, it's Ace Frehley, it kicks ass, it's a great song. The riff is so, like you said, speed metal. It is metal, and Gene and Paul singing together on this, and I think even Peter singing. It's that gang vocal, you know. You don't really hear one person singing. It's just kind of all of them singing, and it's great. It's a great song. It's one of my favorite songs on Hotter Than Hell. So of course, my pick was going to be Parasite.
Yeah, same here. Again, it wasn't even a thought. It was just boom, Parasite, write it down. I mean, it's going to be hard for any song that goes up against Parasite. Only a few songs I could see would win out over Parasite, but it's just so good. And I mean, Two Timer, in my opinion, just sadly didn't have a chance against Parasite. So,
well, the panel agrees with us. The panel chose Parasite over Two Timer. 45-8. 45-8. Pretty landsliding. Two Timer's not a bad song. When I listen to it individually, it's not a bad song. But sometimes it's all about location, location, location. And to stick Two Timer right after room service is a bad place. It should have come later on the A side, maybe on the B side. To me, it's not a bad song. It's not a throwaway, but it's just bad placement. And it's not a fast song, and it kind of just drudges along and dun dun dun. It kind of grooves, and it's got a great solo, but it's just it was a knockout against Parasite.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So track 3 prediction.
I'm going to stick with Hotter Than Hell and say Going Blind.
All right. I predicted they would say Going Blind as well. I myself also chose Going Blind, and that was an easy choice for me. Going against Ladies in Waiting. Ladies in Waiting is another one of those songs where it's almost like it's like Two Timer. It has that same. It's two songs from Gene. Like I said earlier, Paul kicks butt on Dress to Kill. Gene, not so much, at least initially. But this is just these two songs back to back from Gene. They're not bad songs, but they're kind of sleepers for me, at least.
Yeah, so, and I think to have two sleepers back to back at the beginning of an album is not good.
Yeah.
And that's just how it was.
So for me, I chose Going Blind. I love Gene. It's one of my favorite Gene songs off of Hotter Than Hell. So I chose Going Blind for me. What about for you?
I also chose Going Blind. And like Parasite, it's going to be hard for anything to beat out Going Blind. I love the song so much. And a Gene song versus a Gene song, it's kind of interesting. But yeah, Going Blind, it's just, I'm sorry to anybody that loves Ladies in Waiting, but Going Blind is just a better song, in my opinion.
Well, the panel pretty much agreed with that. Against Going Blind, against Ladies in Waiting at track 3, the panel chose Going Blind with 41 points and Ladies in Waiting with 12 points. So it was 41-12 for Going Blind. So far, we are 3 Hotter Than Hell songs. Not looking good for Dress to Kill right now. So what is your prediction for number 4?
This one was one of the hardest ones to do. Not for me necessarily, but I could just see the panel going both ways with this. And I predict that this is not going to be a runaway. But I think by a little bit, I think Hotter Than Hell is going to win.
Okay. I predicted Hotter Than Hell also, that the panel was going to pick it. Mm-hmm. This was an easy pick for me between the two of these songs because I like Getaway a lot better than I do Hotter Than Hell. And a lot of people don't like Getaway, but I think it's a great, great song. It's a great Peter vocal. It's an Ace Frehley composition. And I'm not a big fan of Hotter Than Hell on the Hotter Than Hell album. I love it on a live, but I'm not a big fan of it on this album. And it just sounds like somebody's playing the tape too slow. Mm-hmm. And so for me, Getaway is my pick, and that was an easy pick for me.
Easy pick for me, but complete opposite. I went with Hotter Than Hell. Like I mentioned in the last video, I drink the blue Kool-Aid, and I'm sorry to say, but this is a bad taste of blue Kool-Aid for me. I just do not like this song. It's not bad, and I see it as, whenever I hear it, I just imagine like a 16-year-old guy getting his license and being like, oh, I just want to go drive like out in the country right now. I just want to like break free. And so that's what I hear. I don't hear like a Kiss song. I just hear like a 16-year-old going to drive kind of song. Mm-hmm. And I do like Hotter Than Hell. You're right. It does sound a little warped, like that cassette tape that's been worn out. But I like it. Getaway, not so much.
Okay. Well, Hotter Than Hell versus Getaway, and you called it. It was close. 1 point separation. 1 point. 1 point. Hotter Than Hell, 27. Getaway, 26. It was close. It was close. Getaway lost by 1 point. So that's 4 songs for Hotter Than Hell so far. So what's the prediction for the last track on the first side of the album, track number 5?
So here's where I think Dressed to Kill is going to start to get their recognition. This one, super easy. Rock Bottom, 100% for the panel.
Okay. I predicted Rock Bottom as well for the panel. This is another one of those that was not easy for me to pick because I love Let Me Go Rock and Roll and I love Rock Bottom both. But this is another one of those that came down to the line and I listened to them back to back. And I love I found that I love parts of Rock Bottom. I like the guitar intro, and I actually like the longer guitar intro, although it does get a little long. I think on a live it's a little too short. And but Rock Bottom, once the song starts, it's like it starts and then it's over. And I love it a whole lot better on a live than I do on Dressed to Kill. If I'm true to myself, just by a little bit, I like Let Me Go Rock and Roll better than Rock Bottom. So I stuck with Hotter Than Hell on this one. And I picked Let Me Go Rock and Roll.
Here's where I jumped to Dressed to Kill. I went with Rock Bottom. And I know a lot of bands in the 70s were kind of doing this thing where they would start a song with like, you thought it was going to go one way, and then it just went into another song. And in some cases it's great, in some cases it's not so great. This is an example of it being great. I mean, the beginning's absolutely beautiful. It's a little spooky, it's a little dark, so it's not, it's still got that Kiss vibe to it. And I would love to know if there's any Kiss brides out there that have walked down the aisle to the beginning of Rock Bottom. I think that would be so cool, and I'm sure there's at least one bride that's done that. But I mean, even if you split both songs off, if they had just made Ace's part an instrumental and that was the song, and then they just made Paul's part a song, they both would have been great. And I think that makes for a really good song, especially when you combine two different parts together. So Rock Bottom for me all the way.
This wasn't as close as I thought it was going to be. Between Let Me Go Rock and Roll and Rock Bottom, the panel chose Rock Bottom 34-19 Wasn't as close as I thought it was going to be. So Dress to Kill finally gets a mark in the win column. So we flip the vinyl and go to track 6. What's your prediction?
Come On and Love Me.
I predicted Come On and Love Me as well. And this one's an easy one for me to pick. Between Come On and Love Me and All the Way, hands down, Come On and Love Me. I think Come On and Love Me is one of the best Kiss songs ever. I think it is one of Paul Stanley's best songs. There's so many lyrics in this song that I love. Everybody always talks about, she's a dancer or a romancer. I'm a Capricorn and she's a Cancer. I remember loving that when I was a kid. And also it's like, ooh, Paul's a Capricorn. He really is Capricorn. He's writing about something real. But as I got older, I started liking deeper in this song. I'm a man, I'm no baby, and you're looking every inch of a lady. You're good looking, you're looking like you should be good. And then my favorite lyrics in a Paul Stanley song, one of them, you were distant, now you're nearer. I can feel your face inside the mirror. He rhymed nearer and mirror. I mean, he's got his blueprints out and he's got his protractor out and he's building a construction and it's great. I love it. Come On and Love Me, hands down for me between the two of these.
I mean, All the Way had a little bit of a chance for me, but yeah, it was an instant write down of Come On and Love Me for me. And for me, I mean, the opening line, it's so good. It's so 70s. It's so kind of cheesy, but it's got some substance to it. It's not moldy cheese. It's delicious cheese. And it's just a great song. It's just one of those puts you in a good mood. It perks you up a little bit. So yeah, Come On and Love Me.
Yeah, writing more about that lifestyle that he knows. She saw my picture in a music magazine.
Yeah.
Touched her hip and told me that she'd let me. I mean, there's just so much sexuality in this song that went right over my head as a 7-8-year-old kid. But I really appreciated it later. The panel apparently appreciated it too because this was another landslide, even more than Parasite against Two Timer. Wow. Come On and Love Me beat out All the Way 49-4. 49-4. Let that sink in for a second. But what I love is I love that I have viewers that like songs like All the Way, and that shows me that Kiss writes songs for everybody. There's not a shutout. I don't know if there ever will be a shutout. I think we're always going to find somebody that likes a song over another one, that we pair up against in this way. So Come On and Love Me by the landslide on that one. So that's 2 for now for Dress to Kill. So what is the next prediction for number 7?
Didn't really know how this was going to go. Again, I could see it going either way, but I predicted Watching You.
Okay. I predicted Watching You as well. What I actually picked for myself is Watching You. Watching You is one of my favorite Gene songs. I had to go back to Higher Than Hell for this one. In my opinion, the sound of Hotter Than Hell fits a song like Watching You. It fits that song, that spooky song. He's the Dracula. You remember he was the vampire. At one point in time, he was not dubbed as the demon. He was dubbed as the vampire. And I think he was going for that Bela Lugosi. He's even got the widow's peak and the bat wings. And so it's like he was in the beginning more of a vampire than he was a demon. I think the God of Thunder is what turned him into the demon and everything. But Watching You is just that opening line and just that whole sound of Watching You. But now this was a kind of a it was an easy pick for me over anything for my baby because I like the verses of anything for my baby. I like the I'm in love and it feels so good because I need her. I love that whole part. But when it gets to that rolling anything from my baby, crawl or kneel, I hate that chorus. It gives me a headache. But I love the verses to this song. I just can't stand the chorus. So it's Watching You for me all the way. over Anything for My Baby.
Yeah, I mean, exactly what you said applies to me as well. Watching You, I love this song, and on our previous video, I didn't pick it. I picked, was it Deuce, over this song, and it was just so hard because I could have gone either way, and so I was really excited I got to pick Watching You for this one. Anything for My Baby, it's a little bit of a filler track for me. It's not bad, but up against Watching You, it's going to be Watching You 100%.
Yep. Well, the panel agrees. Watching You against Anything for My Baby won 45-8. It's almost the same. It's the exact same number as Parasite over Two Timer. So Watching You over Anything for My Baby, 45-8. So that's another mark for Hotter Than Hell. So Dress to Kill's going to have to do something here in this last part if it's got a hope. It still can win it, but it's got to do something real fast. So that brings us to the last three. That brings us to track number 8.
And this is where Dress to Kill does what it needs to do, because this was the easiest one for me to predict. I think the panel will go with She.
I picked the panel was going to go with She as well. And I myself picked She because She is just a badass song. She is probably my favorite song on Dress to Kill. It almost sounds like it should have been on Hotter Than Hell. It has that spooky sound. It almost sticks out like a sore thumb. You got all these songs about partying and being in a band and, two-timers and all this other two-timing and, ladies in waiting, being on the road, and then She comes out. And just even the riff just sounds like that. It sounds like that. Even heavier, even too heavy for the first album. It might fit back in there with Black Diamond and 100,000 Years, but it would fit better. It would have a better home on Hotter Than Hell. And it was an older song. It's a Gene Simmons, Stephen Cornell song. So it's an older song. It's a Wicked Lester song that they definitely heavied out. If you listen to the Wicked Lester version, but yeah, the opening line, "She walks by moonlight." I mean,
right. Yeah.
It's and I remember the end was like when I was a kid, it was like where the line where he says, "And she takes off her clothes," and I remember being like, "Oh boy, it's getting good now,"
Yeah.
It's crazy. So, but yeah, she for me all the way.
Yeah, same here. This is the heavy song on Dress to Kill. It's just a solid Gene song. And yeah, I mean, She Walks by Moonlight. Come on, it's done at that point. And, I know a lot of people when they hear the lyrics, they're thinking of a girl that kind of looks like a 70s or 80s Sunset Strip kind of look. I don't see that kind of girl. I see a girl who's wearing like a black cloak and like who's very mystical and
I see a dominatrix.
Yeah, see, it's different. Yeah. And I see a girl who's
a witchy woman, kind of,
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I see and visualize when I hear this song. And it's just, the song is just so good. It's so heavy. And up against Mainline, no chance.
Yeah. It's got that long interval where it's just Gene on the bass, and then Paul comes in, and then Ace comes in with his solo. It's just so awesome, and it's even better on a live. But it's just so awesome. It's worth owning Dress to Kill for. If you don't own Dress to Kill, you need to own Dress to Kill just for the song She.
100%.
Yep. Well, the panel agrees. It's another all the way versus Come On and Love Me type thing. She was picked 49-4 over Mainline. So you're right, Mainline didn't have a chance.
Sorry, Peter.
Mainline's a good song. It's another good Peter vocal and everything, but against She, not a chance.
Yeah.
Not a chance. All right, so that brings us to track number 9. And that gave us one more for Dress to Kill. So now we're to track number 9.
Didn't really know. Did not really know for this one. I took a guess and just said Lover All I Can.
This was a hard one for me to predict. And it was the hardest one for me to personally pick. If there's any of them that I agonized over and went back and forward over, it was this one. And I wanted to definitively have my pick between the two, so I kind of languished over it a little bit, gnashing of teeth and everything. But I predicted Lover All I Can, great song. But at the end of the day, I had to choose Coming Home. It's not the best mix. It's not the best sound. But I just like the way Paul's voice sounds on Coming Home. And I think it's one of his good songs. It is like Come On and Love Me. You know, it's a good song. And it's early in his career, written on his second album. So for me, I knew I was probably pushing against the grain on this one. But for me personally, I chose Coming Home.
Yeah, like Room Service, Lover All I Can is a song that I think I don't like, and then I listen to it and I'm like, why do I think I don't like this? I really like this song. So I went with Lover All I Can. I think it's a good song. Coming Home's not bad. I always kind of forget what it sounds like, and I have to go back and listen to it and go, oh, okay, yeah, that's it. And I kind of have to do that with Lover All I Can as well.
Mm-hmm.
But between the two, I had to go with Lover All I Can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whenever on Coming Home, whenever he breaks into that open line, it's been a month or two. That's just that strong way he comes in. I just think he comes in better than with Lover All I Can. But they use a lot of gang vocals. I meant to mention that on She. They use a lot of gang vocals on She. That's like not just Gene singing on She. Mm-hmm. And it's not just Gene singing on, or just Paul singing on Lover All I Can. He sings, you know, whenever it comes into the chorus, he sings Lover All I Can, try to understand. And you can hear how strong his voice is and how tight they are, because it's another upbeat song. And some of these songs on Dress to Kill are so upbeat. But they use that gang vocals and everything. And this was hands down the hardest one for me to choose between, because I love both of these songs pretty much equally. It's just Coming Home just edges it out just a little bit for me. But the panel didn't have that hard of a time choosing. 38-15, the panel chose Lover All I Can over Coming Home. Coming Home got 15 votes. So that's another one for Dress to Kill. So that brings us to the last track, track 10, Rock and Roll All Night versus Strange Ways.
This is another one where I think it's going to be very close. I do not think this is going to be a runaway at all. I still don't know if I'm doing this right, but I'm going to say Strange Ways is what the panel's going to pick.
Okay. I predicted that the panel was going to choose Rock and Roll All Night. That just goes to show you how this could have gone either way. And this was an easy one for me to pick between the two. I know that a lot of people love Strange Ways. They compare it to, you know, early heavy metal and everything. And it's a Peter vocal, so it's a Peter vocal and Ace Frehley Wright. And so it just goes to show I've picked those in the past. But there's just something about Strange Ways forever has just not jived with me. It is too, in my opinion, it's too slow, and it just drudges on and on. And it's the same riff over and over, that da-na-na-na-da-da-na. It's the same riff, and it just gets real, and I'm just like, But now, even though I'm not the biggest fan of Rock and Roll All Night on Dress to Kill, I mean, it don't even have a stinking solo in it.
Right.
It's like they cut it so short, so they threw this song together that they've made it become their anthem. And it's probably one of the most recognized and overplayed, overrated, I'll even throw that in there, Kiss songs that there is. But I'm not a big fan of it on Dress to Kill. I'm a bigger fan on Alive. At least it's more complete and longer. But I have to choose it over Strange Ways because that says a lot because I'm not a big fan of Strange Ways at all. This came down to between these two particular tracks on these two albums. This came down to a lesser of two evils type situation for me. And so I picked Rock and Roll All Night over Strange Ways.
When we did the debut album and Dress to Kill, I picked Strange Ways over Black Diamond because I love Strange Ways. I think it is fantastic. That being said, I did have to go with Rock and Roll All Night because this is just one of those songs that defines the band. It gave them their legacy. It put them into the spotlight. It took them to a whole nother level as a band. And whether you love this song or you hate this song, you have to appreciate it for that, because who knows if this song had never been on Alive, I mean, who knows what would have happened to Kiss? Would they have been as big as they were or are? Maybe, maybe not, but we do know that this song, the Alive version, really put them into the spotlight. And for that alone, I had to give it to Rock and Roll All Night.
Well, the panel disagrees with both of us. The panel chose Strange Ways 33 over Rock and Roll All Night. So 33 to 20, the panel chose for track 10, Strange Ways. So if you add those up, that means that Hotter Than Hell wins with 6 tracks to 4 tracks over Dress to Kill. So going back over the listing real quick, got to choose 1 over Room Service at number 1. Parasite 1 over Two Timer for track 2. Going Blind 1 over Ladies in Waiting for track 3. Hotter Than Hell 1 over Getaway for track 4. Rock Bottom 1 over Let Me Go Rock and Roll for track 5. Come On and Love Me 1 over All the Way for track 6. Watching You 1 over Anything for My Baby for track 7. She 1 over Mainline for track 8. Love Her All I Can were 1 over Coming Home for track 9. And Strange Ways 1 over Rock and Roll All Night, believe it or not, for track 10. So the next matchup that we're going to do is Hotter Than Hell for now is eliminated. We're going to retire Hotter Than Hell for now. It will be back. Maybe we can see if Hotter Than Hell can knock the dust off of some of the chins from the 80s. Kiss will be back. This is still definitely very much in the running since it was a winner. But Hotter Than Hell will go on to face next week, and you'd think I'd be more prepared, and I'm not. Destroyer.
Yay!
Dress to Kill will face Destroyer. They say Brant. That can't be because Destroyer only has 9 tracks. It actually has a 10th track. Rock and Roll Demons, Rock and Roll Hell, whatever you want to call it. We're going to use that as the 10th track on the technicality. And I swear, I think some people may still pick it over Rock and Roll All Night. Who knows? Who knows? Or it might be an easy win for Dress to Kill. And Destroyer might need all the wins it can get because I have seen so many polarizations of fans when it comes to this album. I've seen people who love this album, and I have seen people who absolutely hate this album as far as Kiss fans goes. So this is what we're going to be doing right here. So just to give you an example for those of you who are watching who might not understand track versus track. So we're going to give you the example of what the matchups are going to be. It'll be Room Service against Detroit Rock City. It'll be Two Timer against King of the Nighttime World. It'll be Ladies in Waiting against God of Thunder. It'll be Getaway against Great Expectations. It'll be Rock Bottom against Flaming Youth. Come On and Love Me against Sweet Pain. Anything for My Baby against Shout It Out Loud. She against Beth. Love Her All I Can against Do You Love Me. And Rock and Roll All Night against Rock and Roll Party. Rock and Roll Demons, whatever you want to call it. So there's your matchups. So,
I am so excited about this because I have a very strong opinion on one song on Destroyer that I have been waiting years to talk about. So I'm very excited about this.
Awesome. Awesome.
I'm going to leave a little tease for you about that.
So, album cover question. What's your favorite album cover between these two?
I gotta go with Dress to Kill. It's so funny because I do love the Hotter Than Hell album cover, but the debut album won over that, and now Dress to Kill's gonna win over Hotter Than Hell for me. I mean, I love the backstory of Dress to Kill, that only Peter had a suit, the other guys didn't have a suit. It's very obvious, especially on Gene, that suit does not fit him. But
Got the high water.
I love that. I love that. Yeah.
Had to borrow Bill of Coin's suits.
Yes, and I love that they don't fit, because it shows that, we're not these type of guys, and I think any fan that finds themselves in New York City, you go to that corner. I have it written down, so I don't remember, 23rd and 8th in Manhattan. You go to that corner and you recreate that album cover, either by yourself or with 3 friends or however many you have, and it's just so good. It's so good. So yeah. Dress to Kill album cover for me. And
if you've not seen the video from Rick from It's Off You Demon, Carla, if you've not seen it or other people haven't seen it, in one of his New York trip videos, they actually went there. They went to several locations, and they actually have pictures of them and his friends he grew up with listening to Kiss, standing at it. I think he even kissed it. And so if you've not seen that video, that's a little shout out to my buddy Rick. Be sure to check that out. My favorite between these two, Dress to Kill. Dress to Kill all the way. I remember being a kid and loving that Kiss was embossed around it, and I was always enamored with the fact that to fit it on the way that they did. This last Kiss right here only has 3 letters. It only has KIS. It doesn't have the second S right there. I used to stare at this album cover. I used to look at the thing. I used to always wonder who this dude was in this car here and go, does this guy know that he's on the front of an album cover? But yeah, this is a classic. And to make it even better, even though we're just talking about the front of the albums, I love that they did the negative on the back, because they look so spooky.
Yeah, exactly. It adds that spook factor to it, and it really intrigues you, and it kind of makes you think: is this going to be a really dark album? Is this going to be really heavy? And it's not, but it makes you think it is.
Yeah, and I remember Dress to Kill. That sounds so... And I always... Anytime you see... It's very rare that you see the guys in makeup in regular clothes. And they just look like they're so business in the front and party in the back, kind of, that's just a great look for them. And I just think it's such an iconic album cover. So, yeah, hands down for me, between the two albums... Dress to Kill is my favorite between it and Hotter Than Hell. So, what's your favorites? Put down in the comments which one you like better, because we want to know. But anyway, that's all I got for this one. You got any closing thoughts, Miss Carla?
No, not really. I mean, I kind of predicted this is the way it was going to go. I thought it was going to be really heavy on Hotter Than Hell for the first half, and then heavier for Dress to Kill in the second half. So, pretty much went the way I thought it was going to be. But I did have a couple people on the chat ask me if I had a YouTube channel, and I don't. Not yet. I probably will never, but who knows. I do a lot on Instagram, though, so if anybody wants to follow me, kind of a weird name. It's Thyle Garden. THAYILGARDEN, all one word. I'm redoing my record room right now, so I'm getting my record collection up and put away and all that. So if you want to follow me and check that out, that's where you can find me on Instagram.
That's all I've got for this one. I'm looking forward to the next one. I'm definitely looking forward to see these two albums pair off against each other. Anyway, as long as you guys keep watching, we'll keep figuring out a way to switch them up and change them out. Anyway, that's all I got for this one. Carla, thank you for hanging out with me again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for donating your time, giving me an hour of your week. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.
Bye.
So track 3, we got Going Blind going up against, is it Hotter Than Hell?
Ladies in Waiting.
Ladies in Waiting goes up against Hotter Than Hell?
No, Ladies in Waiting goes up against Going Blind.
Going Blind. So you were doing your prediction?
No, I was just double checking to make sure I had the track listing right. Yep.
All right, so let's start over. Let's start over with track 3.